Hey everyone, my name is Anna. Welcome to my channel. This video is focused on the topic of extroverted intuition, which is the auxiliary function of the INFP function stack. The auxiliary function, otherwise known as the sidekick or second in command, is the second most preferred function for each type, and it brings a complementing and supportive perspective to the dominant function. It provides a perfect balance to the dominant function because if, for example, the dominant is a judging function, then the auxiliary will always be a perceiving function. And if the dominant has an introverted focus, then the auxiliary will have an extroverted focus and vice versa, of course. The auxiliary function creates a powerful partnership with the dominant function and brings a lot of growth and stimulation and expansion to the personality. In my experience as an INFP, I find that my dominant function of introverted feeling is what anchors and centers and guides me, while my auxiliary function of extroverted intuition is what brings me movement and vitality and enthusiasm. So what is extroverted intuition? How does it express itself in the INFP personality type? And what are some of the most empowering ways that we can use it? In the lake imagery that I've been using for this series on the INFP function stack, I envisioned the intuitive function as the unspoken interconnectedness, the silent communication, the listening that is happening between all the different elements of the lake. So for example, extroverted intuition would be depicted by the water interacting with the sand on the shore, the sand interacting with the rocks interacting with the plant life, and all of these silent interactions creating a web of interrelatedness that begins to form a broader picture, a wider view. The intuitive function is a perceiving function, which means it takes in, gathers, and explores information without forming conclusions. And just like the sensing function, it receives information in a direct, immediate manner without deliberation or reasoning. In fact, intuition is often referred to as the sixth sense, and one could indeed consider it to be a type of heightened sense which is able to perceive and discern that which is beyond the physical senses. This is why I see intuition as a type of acute state of listening that is able to interrelate with life in a direct, immediate, instinctive way. Extroverted intuition is focusing this listening into the outer world, forming and perceiving connections with the external reality. This means that as INFPs, when we are using extroverted intuition, we are instinctively making connections between ourselves and the external world, or making connections between different elements within the external world. It's as though invisible pathways begin to open up for us that we can travel on. We can explore these pathways with our curiosity, with our imagination, with our attention, with our awareness. And these pathways are what allows us INFPs to exit our internal world of feeling and to start to form a bridge with the external world. When we use extroverted intuition, or NE, and these pathways of interconnectedness open up before us, we are perceiving a world of possibility and openness and adventure. And this brings us an incredible amount of necessary growth and stimulation and inspiration. And because our dominant function of introverted feeling is focused on narrowing down possibilities in order to stay aligned with our values and our truth, extroverted intuition offers the perfect balance and allows us to stay moving and open and not get stuck or stagnant in our subjective reality. I think the particular focus that extroverted intuition will take will of course depend on the interests and preferences of the individual at any given time. So for example, much of my NE focus is on people. So I tend to bring a lot of attention and awareness to the connections that I can make between my reality and theirs, or to the connections that I can make within their respective realities. Without this constant stream of information about people who are not me and my interrelatedness with them, I tend to feel an internal drought, and I feel void of inspiration, and I feel void of energy. For all the introverted time I spend in my internal world, that internal world is actually really inspired and nourished by all the extroverted intuition connections I'm making with the people around me. Because of the open and divergent nature of extroverted intuition, we can run into imbalances when we are traveling on the pathways of this function, but get lost on the road, so to speak. Because NE allows us to explore and take in a wide variety of external information without feeling the need to form conclusions or to narrow it down in any way, there's a risk that this intake of information can cause more confusion for us than it does clarity. The obvious antidote to this confusion is, of course, to use our other functions to bring us home to ourselves, to create balance and decisiveness for ourselves. Spending time with our dominant function of introverted feeling can lead us to form choices about what external information to keep for ourselves. What external intuitive information can most nourish our value system or align with our authenticity, or even better, increase our knowledge of ourselves. And spending time with our tertiary function of introverted sensing can allow us to compare the new information received through NE with the recollection of past experiences, or with what truly works for us in our physical internal reality. And even spending time with our inferior function of extroverted thinking can provide containment and structure and conclusiveness in regards to the external world in a way that extroverted intuition is not wired to do. When used in balance with the other functions, extroverted intuition is one of the best ways for us INFPs to provide ourselves with movement and motivation to uplift our spirits with fresh perspectives and novelty, and to bring scope and maturity to our subjective viewpoints. Thank you for watching. I would love to hear how extroverted intuition gets expressed in your life. And I will see you next time for the last video in this series that will focus on our dominant function of introverted feeling.